Welcome back to Nigeria, the road to 2019. I'm Charles Anyegolu. So the political geography has clearly changed since President Buhari came to power in 2015. But as things stand, in spite of all the crises and accusations, it's still not clear whether anyone in the opposition can wrest power from Mr. Buhari. Because though his party, the APC, may be badly hurt, but it's obviously not entirely broken. And political wounds have a way of healing reasonably quickly, depending on how fast the reaction time of the injured is. In other words, all the defections from the APC, as well as the official siege on the National Assembly, and the public's perception of the victimization of the opposition may have played brilliantly into the PDP's hands, but it's still inadequate and could well turn out to be purely a symbolic Pyrrhic victory. Or could it? Well, with me in the studio, Honorable Mohammed Tahir Monguno, three-time member of the House of Representatives with the APC, who is also a lawyer and former Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in Borno State in northeast Nigeria. Thank you very much indeed for staying with us. And as I mentioned there, you represent the Monguno Marte Ngazai federal constituency in Borno State. And of course, Borno State, the epicenter of the Boko Haram insurgency, a conflict that continues to rage in your state. And of course, I bring this up because one of the big planks of President Buhari's election in 2015, one of his big pledges, was to fight security. I wonder how many local governments remain under siege and why the federal government under your party, the APC, has not been able to properly and fully contain that conflict.
Well, before the advent of the present administration, it is public knowledge that 2/3 of the local governments in Borno State are under the firm control of the Boko Haram insurgents. They have hosted their flag and they are administering their laws. But as a result of the political will shown by the present administration, as well as the gallantry exhibited by the Nigerian armed forces, all the local governments in Borno State that were hitherto under the firm grip of the Boko Haram insurgents have been liberated, including my local government. And the internally displaced people that have hitherto left their ancestral home have gone back to pick their pieces, the pieces of their life. So all these instances of suicide bombings and occasional attack,
well, it's not occasional, it's fairly regular now.
On attack on sub-targets that we are witnessing now is, to us in Borno State, is a sign of weakness on the part of the Boko Haram.
Is it
because
just
they no longer have the capacity to organize themselves as a fighting force, attack our military, overrun them, and then take over territory and then administer their own laws effectively. Compromising the territorial integrity of Nigeria. They don't have the capacity to do that. They have been degraded.
Yeah, but it's one thing to sit in a television studio or to sit in the presidency or somewhere and analyze things. I mean, when you get out there, and I'm sure you do talk to your people, it doesn't really matter whether it's, you know, asymmetric attacks or a proper war or whatever. As long as people are being killed, it's a threat to the security of that region. And people are still being killed.
Yes, that I agree with you that, you know, insurgency all over the world. And from the history of how nations grapple with insurgency, it's not something that you eradicate in 1, 2, or 3 years.
Yeah, but that's what the president said he would do, which is why people are disappointed.
It takes time. It takes time to completely eradicate insurgency.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that you're saying that now, but when you took over, or when you wanted to take over, you said you were going to eradicate the insurgency. You haven't. Now,
we have succeeded in doing a lot, as I told you.
Yeah, but as I said, it means nothing.
I cannot go to my local government because they are effectively there. They are administering their own laws there. They have hosted their flag. Effectively, my local government has been excised from Nigeria because but now we have been liberated.
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on and talk about.
It's a tremendous achievement.
Let's talk about the political impact of this continuing insurgency for President Buhari? I mean, you have good knowledge of northern Nigeria. You're from there. You understand the politics of the region. With all these security issues, not just with Boko Haram and the farmer-herder conflict in the Central Belt, but also with the attack, this recent attack on the National Assembly and the suggestion of a presidential plot to undermine the National Assembly. Are people's attitudes in northern Nigeria to Mr. Buhari changing? Is there a mood of resentment, and is he becoming the ultimate focus of that resentment, as we're seeing in other parts of Nigeria?
Well, I don't think if you are talking about northern Nigeria and indeed the whole country, the APC and President Muhammadu Buhari is not a focus of resentment. This is clearly manifested by the election that was recently held in Katsina and in Borno State, where the APC won overwhelmingly.
Yeah, but people tend to vote for their local politicians on a local level.
Also in Kogi, APC won landslide. So if you look at this issue of resentment against the president and the APC, they are all mere propaganda that is being dished out by the opposition. Nigerians still have confidence in President Muhammadu Buhari. Nigerians still have confidence in APC, and this is clearly shown by the election that was conducted recently.
Well, obviously,
with regard to the issue of security that you talked about, the farmers' herders clashes is an emerging issue in the middle belt part of the country. And even yesterday, and the president, the federal government under the APC has taken steps to control it and then nip it in the bud. And yesterday, the deputy governor of Borno State, who came from the epicenter of the farmers' herders clashes, has come out after the National Economic Council meeting to say that the security situation in Borno State has significantly improved. From the deputy governor
you see, the problem is that you can say things as part of political rhetoric. I mean, you may be trying to...
But mind you, the deputy governor of Borno State is a member of the PDP.
You may be trying to put on, you know, what I might call...
He's a member of the PDP.
Yeah, what I might call this gamecock bravado. But I think everyone knows that the world of the APC has been turned upside down these last few weeks. I mean, it doesn't take a clairvoyant to see that in the APC there must be, and we've talked to a lot of your people, not just yourself, there must be anxiousness, perhaps even anxiety, that President Buhari, who was the big super gun that the APC used to defy the odds and win against an incumbent in 2015, and who always seemed invulnerable, now appears to be shaky and losing his footing amongst the political class as well as the public.
No. The president is not losing his political footing amongst the political class. All these defections that we witnessed recently in the National Assembly, some of them are purely as a result of personal interests, not something against the government or against the way and manner.
Well, the reasons they've given
is concerning governance. For example,
well, the reasons they've given is bad governance on your part.
The governor of Sokoto State left APC to go to PDP to contest for a presidential election. Saraki left APC to PDP to contest for a presidential election.
But that's not what they've said.
And members, APC senators and members.
But you're not their spokesman. That's not what they've said.
They
didn't say that they left to contest for presidential elections. They said they left because of the sort of dictatorial rule and the lack of breathing space and the lack of accommodation for different political views within the APC.
They are saying so to cover their actions.
Well, that's your assertion.
They are saying so to cover, because it is clearly now in the public domain that they want to contest for the presidency. Both Saraki and Tambua, they want to contest for presidency.
I'm sorry.
And most of the senators and members of the House of Representatives that defected is purely as a result of local issues.
I'm going to have to
with their governors.
Right. I'm going to have to stop you there, but I'm deeply grateful to you, Honorable Mohammed Tahir Monguno, three-time member of the House of Representatives with the APC party, for coming in to our studios today. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Mr. Charles.
Well, that's it for this edition of Nigeria, The Road to 2019. Join us again for a fresh edition tomorrow. tomorrow. From me and the entire team here in Abuja, bye-bye and thank you for watching.